It all started early last summer. I was attempting to read one of the most lifeless, irksome, fatiguing, unexciting, tedious, banal, tiring, exhausting, drab, and endless books ever written. It is called The Odyssey by Homer. Throughout this journey of reading, there were many setbacks and obstacles that I had to overcome. My first dragon battle was Robert Fagles for translating this work to English so that I could read it. I started on page 1, knowing I had a long journey ahead of me. Although all hope looked lost, I knew that I could do it. Unfortunately, halfway through the first page, I was fast asleep. After my first failure, I knew it would take some extra adrenaline to be able to do this. I needed a plan to stay up while reading this, so I made one. Every morning, I prepared myself with 2 gallons of apple juice to keep me awake. It was very expensive to buy so much, but it was worth it. Day by day, I slowly read this atrocious story. I felt like I was making tons of progress and doing a great job. About halfway through the summer, I was on page 25. I knew I wasn't going at a fast enough pace to finish the book. I needed to read more than 1 page a day if I were to do this. I then rapidly picked it up the next few weeks. With about 2 weeks left before school, I was on page 100. I knew I was entering the belly of the whale at this point. There was 14 days to read 460 pages. I needed to read about 33 pages a day, which is way more than I usually read. This seemed like an impossible task for me. I thought about sparknoting the whole book instead of reading it since I had such a small amount of time left. Like a great thinker once said, too many books and never enough time to read. I should quit my job. But I decided to keep going and read the book myself. As soon as I opened the book back up, I regretted my decision. Every page was terribly long and extremely boring. As someone once said, there was no robber worse than a bad book. This quote is accurate because someone could have came into my house and stole thousands of dollars, and it still wouldn't have been as bad as the Odyssey. 460 pages in 2 weeks is a lot, but I had confidence that I could read 33 pages each day and finish. This confidence came from my talisman, the pencil sharpener. Although a pencil sharpener does not seem like a very good companion, it was. Every day it was there next to me, reassuring me that I could do it. The presence of it made me feel great about reading the Odyssey. Pencils were not necessary to read this book, but I sharpened them anyway, just to hear the noise of my companion. Every pencil being sharpened was way more entertaining than the Odyssey. Thanks to the sharpener, I only had 120 pages left, and I still had a week to read it. Unfortunately, I faced a ritual death when my sharpener fell into the sink and stopped working. I didn't think I would be able to finish the book without my talisman. But after 3 days of sobbing about it, I got back on my feet and picked up the book again. There was 4 days to read 120 pages, and nothing was going to stop me from finishing it. As much as I had the urge to sparknote, I stayed strong and painfully, sometimes even in tears, read down each page of the Odyssey. I knew my journey was coming to a rough end, because with only a few hours left before school, I still had 50 pages to read. I was determined to finish, though, and I stayed up all night to read every single word of the Odyssey. Although the journey I made was extremely painful, I succeeded in reading the Odyssey from front to back, and all the pain was worth it. The hard work finally paid off when Mrs. Kearns gave us the Odyssey test a few days later, and I got a 77.